Welcome back to Robots vs. Vampires, where sci-fi and fantasy collide. I'm Adrian Smith, your guide to today's story.
And I'm Julia Jones, here to help you unpack the science, or at least the science fiction behind it all, ready for a world bathed in perpetual twilight.
Okay, so you're listening, so I guess you must be ready for anything. Imagine a world where solar flares have thrown the Earth's rotation off-kilter, leaving us in this strange, never-ending dusk. The sun is weak, almost sickly, and shadows just stretch out way longer than they should.
It's a fascinating premise.
Right.
And the sources we've dug into really paint a vivid picture of this world. Think muted colors, a sky that never quite reaches true blue, and a sun that feels more like a distant memory than a life-giving force.
And for vampires, well, let's just say their whole creatures of the night thing isn't so cool anymore. This constant twilight is weakening them, making their hunger almost impossible to control. We're introduced to Vladimir, a vampire leader who's witnessing the decline of his ancient clan firsthand. Their strength is fading, their society is crumbling, and they're facing a very real threat of extinction.
The sources really highlight the desperation in their situation. Imagine a being that's lived for centuries, seen empires rise and fall, and now they're faced with the possibility of simply fading away. It's a powerful image that makes you think about the fragility of even the most enduring things.
So what does a desperate vampire do? They turn to the one thing that could destroy them: sunlight. Vladimir hears rumors of a hidden sanctuary, a place where the sun still shines, brightly protected by creatures made of pure sunlight. Not exactly a vampire's ideal vacation spot.
It's a classic case of the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Right.
But the tension in this scenario is palpable. The vampires are literally risking their lives to approach these creatures of light. It makes you wonder what lengths you would go to ensure the survival of your own kind, even if it means confronting your greatest fear.
And the creatures guarding this sunlit sanctuary? They're nymphs, beings of starlight and radiant energy. But don't let their beauty fool you. They have a long and complicated history with vampires. Broken agreements, betrayals, you name it. It's safe to say this reunion is going to be anything but friendly.
The sources really delve into the history between these two groups. It's clear that there's a lot of baggage, a lot of unresolved issues. And that adds a whole other layer of tension to their interactions. Can they overcome their shared past to find common ground in the face of this new threat?
So Vladimir, being the brave or maybe desperate soul that he is, approaches the nymphs with a plea for help. And the nymph, who is literally described as being made of starlight, talk about a glow-up, offers a solution. But it comes at a price, of course. She proposes transferring some of the sun's essence to the vampires using an intricate contraption made of lenses, mirrors, and glowing crystals.
It's like a reverse blood transfusion, but with sunlight instead of blood. And the description of this energy transfer is intense. Vladimir, who goes first, experiences it as pure fire coursing through his undead veins. It's painful, ecstatic, and it gives him a surge of power unlike anything he's ever felt.
I mean, who wouldn't want a little extra sunlight in their lives? But seriously, it makes you think about the extremes we go to for survival. Would you be willing to undergo a painful and potentially dangerous procedure if it meant saving your people from extinction?
It's a heavy question, and one that the story really forces you to confront. And remember, this isn't just about Vladimir. His entire clan undergoes the ritual, and they all experience similar changes.
Right, their eyes change, their hunger becomes more manageable, and they can actually tolerate the twilight without withering away. It seems like a miracle, a solution to their desperate plight.
But as we all know, there's no such thing as a free lunch, especially in a world of robots and vampires.
Exactly. It turns out the nymph isn't looking so radiant anymore. Her starlight is dimming, and the grove she protects is starting to wither. The energy transfer, while giving the vampires a lifeline, is draining her and her sanctuary.
The sources use some striking imagery to convey this decline. Fading starlight falling leaves a sense of encroaching darkness. It's clear that the price of the vampire's survival is the slow death of the nymph and her grove.
Talk about a moral dilemma, right? They've traded one problem for another. But there's a glimmer of hope. The nymph gives the vampires a new mission: find another energy source, one that can sustain both of their kind, or they'll both perish.
This sets up a new dynamic, a new urgency. These age-old enemies, now bound by this life-or-death situation, have to find a way to work together. Their survival is intertwined, and the fate of this twilight world hangs in the balance. Welcome back to Robots vs. Vampires,
Where the plot thickens with every twist and turn.
Before we delve any deeper, let's recap where we left off.
Right, we've got vampires on the brink of extinction, a world trapped in this perpetual twilight.
And a desperate alliance between vampires and nymphs, creatures of light.
But this alliance comes at a cost. The vampire's survival is draining the nymph's life force.
It's a complex ethical dilemma. They've inadvertently become responsible for the decline of another species, even as they fight for their own.
It makes you think about the ripple effects of our actions, even when we're trying to do what we think is the right thing.
Exactly, and it really highlights the interconnectedness of all things in this twilight world.
So what happens next? Do the vampires just accept their fate and watch as the nymphs fade away? Or do they try to make things right?
Well, the source material suggests they're not giving up without a fight. Vladimir, burdened by the responsibility of his clan's survival and the consequences of their actions, takes charge.
He's not one to back down from a challenge, especially when the stakes are this high.
And remember that sunlit sanctuary, the nymphs' protected grove. It turns out it's more than just a pretty place. The source material describes it as a nexus of energy, a point where sunlight is concentrated and amplified.
Hold on, are we talking about like a magical power source, like something out of a superhero comic?
In a way, yes. This nexus is what gives the nymphs their radiant power, their ability to manipulate light and energy. It's a source of immense power, both beautiful and dangerous.
So the vampires have been living next door to a cosmic battery this whole time, and they had no idea.
It's ironic, isn't it? But maybe, just maybe, this nexus holds the key to their salvation. If they can harness its power safely, it could sustain both the vampires and the nymphs.
Okay, now that's a game changer. But how do they even approach something that powerful? I mean, we're talking about creatures of darkness trying to tap into a source of pure sunlight. It sounds like a recipe for disaster.
You're right, it's a risky proposition, and the source material hints at the challenges ahead. There's talk of ancient rituals, forgotten knowledge, and perhaps even a prophecy or two. It's clear that harnessing this power will require more than just scientific know-how. They'll need to understand the magic, the history, the delicate balance of this nexus.
So we've got vampires, nymphs, a dying world, and a hidden energy source with the potential to save them all. It sounds like we're heading for an epic showdown between darkness and light.
Absolutely. And the question remains, what role will Vladimir and his clan play in this? Will they be the heroes who restore balance, or will their actions have unintended consequences?
Stay tuned, because we'll be exploring those very questions right after, well, we're not taking a break, so let's just dive right into the final part of this epic tale. Welcome back to Robots vs. Vampires.
Where the fate of our twilight world hangs in the balance.
We left off with a pretty tantalizing possibility.
Yeah, this hidden nexus of sunlight could be the key to saving both vampires and nymphs.
But as we've learned, nothing is ever that simple in this world.
The source material makes it very clear that harnessing this power won't be easy.
Right. It's not like they can just, plug in a solar panel and call it a day.
Exactly. This nexus is a force of nature, both alluring and dangerous. Approaching it recklessly could have catastrophic consequences.
So how do they even plan to, tap into this power without blowing everything up?
That's where things get really interesting. Remember those ancient rituals and forgotten knowledge we mentioned earlier?
Oh, yeah, like some secret vampire nymph handshake from the good old days.
Not quite a handshake, but you're getting the idea. The source material suggests that vampires and nymphs weren't always enemies. There was a time when they coexisted, even collaborated to harness powerful energies.
So they're digging into their shared history, looking for clues. Like a cosmic treasure hunt.
Exactly. They're researching ancient texts, deciphering cryptic symbols, trying to piece together the knowledge that's been lost over centuries of conflict and mistrust.
That sounds like a long shot. Can they really bridge the gap between, science and magic?
The source material seems to suggest they can. It's not just about brute force or technological prowess. It's about understanding the delicate balance of this energy source, respecting its power, and working in harmony with nature.
So it's a delicate dance.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, vampires and nymphs aren't exactly known for their grace and cooperation.
True, but desperation can be a powerful motivator. They're both fighting for survival, and that shared goal might be enough to overcome their differences.
Imagine that ancient enemies working together to save their world. It's a powerful image, full of hope and possibility.
And it raises some fascinating questions. If they succeed, how will this new alliance reshape their society? Will they become stewards of this energy source, ensuring its power is used for good?
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the most unexpected alliances can emerge. And sometimes the greatest threats can lead to the most profound transformations.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our Robots vs. Vampires deep dive into this twilight world.
If you enjoyed this episode of Robots vs. Vampires, be sure to rate and follow us for more thrilling tales of sci-fi and fantasy.
And until next time, keep exploring the impossible. You never know what wonders you might uncover.